Today, I've done videos like this before, and I'm going to do it again. We're going to look at creating a repository for a child theme of a WordPress theme. And I'm recording this not because I want lots of extra WordPress videos that do the same thing, but because we're going to use the current best practices for child theming and how to do it according to WordPress and their WordPress codex. So what we did here is I created my GitHub account. I've got a lot of repositories here. I'm going to create a new repository. Now let me just go show you the folder structure of what's going on here. I have a folder in my student folder called HTML5 Reset Theme. And the HTML5 Reset WordPress theme is the theme I'm going to be creating a child theme for. And I've already connected, there is a repository online for this, and I went and I got it. And I used Git to clone this, and it gave me all these files. These are the files for my parent theme. And so I just created a new folder, and there's nothing in it. I want to turn this folder into my child theme folder, but I want to track all the work I do in my child theme in version control. And I want to do that in case I make a mistake. I can roll it back to the last time it works, or in case my computer catches on fire, then I can still recover the files because I want them saved here on GitHub. So those are just some of the reasons why I'm going to do it. So I have a folder, and I haven't put anything in there yet. What I'm going to do is create a repository from GitHub first. And it's very similar. If you have an account on Bitbucket, for example, and you're using Git, you can use that too. But I'll just show you through GitHub. I'm going to create a new repository. And then I have to give it a name here. Now I'm going to match the name on my folder, except for I teach two different classes. So if I call it this, it's going to say it already exists. So I'm adding something that you don't have to do. I'm going to put P3 for period 3. Okay. And then I'm going to write a little description on here. A child theme for the HTML5 Reset WordPress theme. Yeah. For my third period class. I add that little piece there. Okay, so when you have your description and you have your repository name, I'm going to let GitHub teach me what I'm supposed to do next. So I don't have a git ignore. I'm not going to initialize it. I'm just going to click create repository. Okay, when you get to this part here, and you see this echo, etc., on command line we can do this. On git bash we cannot. There might be another way to do it. I don't happen to know. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to create a Readme file. Then we're going to add it, commit it, and then we're going to connect our folder to this repository here. And then we're going to take what's in our folder and add it to this site using the push command. So these are the commands we're going to do, but let's go ahead and create a Readme file right now. Okay, once you have your folder created and you got your GitHub site and you've got all these commands that you want to put in there, what we need to do is we need to get into Git and get our folder connected to this site. So what we do is we copy the address of the folder right here. Of course, this is for Word. I don't know what you do in Mac to copy the address. You're on your own on that one. I'm going to go to git bash. And the first thing I want to do is change the directory, that's CD. I'm going to put a right click here, or I'm going to put a little single quote. What I did is I clicked with my mouse with the right button. So right click. And I have that feature enabled because on my defaults, I have quick edit mode selected. I needed to use administrator privileges to get that a permanent change. So I logged on, and I ran it as an administrator, and I set that, I clicked OK. And then from then on, right click will just paste whatever you have copied. So now I hit this single quote, I hit enter, and now I'm in the folder. You'll notice you just see the folder name. We're not actually under version control. So I'm going to type git init. What that does is it initializes my repository. And at this point, I have what's called a local repository. Local meaning it's on the computer. Technically, it's on a network drive, but let's not worry about that. So because I have hidden files shown, I can see this folder. And so let me just show you under your folder options, under view, your default probably has the following. By default, you probably have hidden files where it says don't show hidden files, folders, or drives. And you probably have this thing that says hide extensions for known file types. I recommend you turn that off and I recommend you show hidden files. But if you can't change that and there's nothing you can do about it, it's easy. I'll show you what you do. You got to be careful because you got to look to see what file type is here. Notice the type says file folder. If you have hidden files in folders, if you don't show them, you won't see anything. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. It's going to be our README, and I'm just going to right-click and create a new text document. So there it is, text document. And instead of just changing the file name, like if you don't see a .txt, that means you're hiding the file extension because that's a known file type. It's a text file. But watch what we can do. We can right-click and we can edit with Notepad++. It'll open up a new window, and it will be blank. And this is going to be our README, okay? And I already have a sample one. This is what we're going to put in there. I'm going to put using some notation like this and some information. So I'm going to put in here, #. This is the hashtag, right? What this does is this is going to be, we're going to turn this file into what's called a README or a markdown file. So I'm going to put HTML5 child theme. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to put 2 #. I'm going to put my name. Oh, wait. I'm 100 Visions guy. You didn't see that. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to put here a child theme for the HTML5 reset WordPress theme. So in Notepad++, once I add my content, I'm just going to save this, but I'm going to choose rename. And I'm going to call this README, all caps, .md. By adding the .md, I'm changing what I'm saving it as. Now, MD stands for Markdown, and these little symbols here are going to be used to transform this file into a web page, basically, on GitHub. So I click Save. Now it's readme.md, and I can tell it's .md, right? So I go to my folder, and there it is, readme.md. It's saved, right? Make sure you save your changes. So if you haven't saved it, hit Save. In fact, you have to save it once you rename it, because just renaming it doesn't actually save it, and we hadn't saved it yet, so make sure you save it. So now we have a file. We made some changes. We have it on our folder here, but we don't have it on the repository. So we've already initialized it. We did that. But look at this. Right here, this was an attempt to add a README file, but GitHub or Git Bash doesn't set it so that worked. So, but we already created our README, but now we got to follow the remaining commands on here. We're going to follow them exactly as they are. So what we need to do is whenever you make change on a file, you've got to add it, and then you got to commit it. Add it is like putting it in a staging area ready to be committed. And so we're just going to copy the command there, but it's very simple just to type it out. It's git add, and then this has to match the file name we're looking for. So if you don't have a file called readme.md, it's going to cause an error. I have it, so it's got it. And then I'm going to do git commit, and I'm going to put a little -m here, and this is what's called a flag, and what we're doing is we're giving it extra command. And what this means is I'm going to add a message to my commit. Just put here, added readme.md. So I like to put in quotes what I did. Keep it simple. Keep your message short. Hit enter. And now notice it said we changed the file. We added 4 insertions. That's because it had 4 lines of code. So at this point, our local repository now has tracked us. It's taken a little picture of the folder right now. It's taken a picture, and so we have a history of what just happened. But we still need to connect to this repository. So we're going to get the next command, which is git remote add origin. And then you're going to want, basically this command will work with any repository, but you have to add the address to the repository going all the way to the .git. So I copy all of that, and then I paste it in. If you don't have this line of code, you go to any repository, and I'll show you what you can do. I've already copied it, so I'm going to go back here. When you're looking at a repository that you already created, and let's say you skip that step, you're going to see on that page, there's going to be a little link. Well, at this point, it's not going to do it till I'm done adding it. So let's just go ahead and do that. Hit enter. And at this point now, I think this will work. If I hit refresh. Nope, still not. So we're going to do the last one, which is push. So at this point, this repository has none of my changes yet. We've just connected it with the Git remote add. Now we're going to push, and this is going to take our work and send it to the repository. However, this is the one trick. You got to put your username in. And now it's going to ask for your password. You need to type your password. It will accept it, but you're going to see nothing. So just trust that it's going to work. There, I hit enter. And if I typed it in right, that's what you're going to get, a message like that. And this is what we do every time you want to send your changes to the repository. Now when I hit refresh, now guess what? There's the history. I just authored 2 minutes ago a commit. It's the latest commit. That's the file now that I have in my folder. So now the repository has it, and because this is a README file, GitHub is set to actually display this on the page like it's HTML. That's what the markdown, the MD, is all about. So now we've made a change and we've connected. So at this point, if my computer gets fried, right now, I can still recover that file. If the network folder that had this local copy here burns up in a big fire accident, fiery flame, big, comet hits the earth, destroys it, GitHub still has a copy of it, so we're good. So now what we want to do is create our WordPress child theme. All right, everybody, so at this point, we have our README file and nothing else. We need a child theme, and for that, we're going to go to the WordPress codex. However, for that, we're going to have to wait till we come back on our next installment where I talk to you about best practices for installing your child theme onto a WordPress site.